like to thank my family, my friends, and my teachers for their love and support throughout my life and in rabbinical school. While time doesn't permit me to give individual thanks, I'm including it in a version of the sermon that I will email out. I also have off to the side a poem on Parshat Lech written by my grandmother Lucille Frankel, who's been a poet for over 40 years and a major influence on my life. Please feel free to take one after the sermon. Tell us about your spiritual journey towards rabbinical school. These words were said by Rabbi Lisa Gelber on the first day of rabbinical school orientation. As each student spoke about his or her journey, I began to reflect on the meaning and power of journey. From this initial question, I realized that each of us who has gone towards a rabbinate has a great journey based on our life experience, which is part of a greater life journey. An enormous, completely life-changing journey lies at the heart of this week's Torah portion, when God tells Avram, Lech lecha me'artzecha mimoladecha mibeit avicha el haaretz asher arecha. Go you forth from your land, from your birthplace, from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. Why would Avram choose to take such a journey, leaving the land, the people, and the way of life familiar to him, to venture into the unknown? Why would anyone choose to do this? The medieval commentator Rashi says that the purpose of Avram's journey was l'ha'anatecha u'letovatecha, for his betterment and for his own good, as he'd become the father of a great nation through this journey. In accordance with Rashi, I see Avram's faith and trust in God as being necessary for him to take this life-changing, beneficial journey. Rashi's views expanded upon by the Slonim Hasidic rabbi, Shalom Noach Borozovsky, in his recent book, Netivot Shalom. Netivot Shalom references Isaac Luria, who states that each of us has a unique life destiny. For Luria, people's life conditions differ from one another because we each have special work which is set aside for just us to do. Netivot Shalom takes Luria a step further, stating that we cannot be another, only ourselves, and we must use our full self to develop spiritually and to engage in tikkun olam, perfecting the world. In progressing on our individual life journeys, we, like Avram, are striving to fulfill what we were sent out to accomplish. What a beautiful concept, that each of us, like Avram, has a personal path to follow that will lead us to our destination. We're challenged, like Avram, to have faith in what lies ahead and to continue working towards a better future. Avram's dilemma in this week's Torah portion is our dilemma today, to have faith and continue to trust in God as we continue to meet life's challenges. This is especially difficult because we have no idea where the next step of the journey will lead us. And that requires us to continually make choices, some of which are difficult. This past summer, I served as a student chaplain at Bellevue Hospital. My goal in doing this work was to connect with real people at times of great need and stress, and to see what role I could have in helping them meet the challenges that they were facing. I met with people in 4 different units: surgical intensive care, cardiac, detox, and prison psych, as well as in the emergency room. The prisoners were from Rikers Island and were at Bellevue briefly, for a psychiatric evaluation. One prisoner in particular stood out to me. Jason is my age. He has chronic pain in his knee, he's experiencing kidney failure, and he anticipates being on dialysis. I met with Jason 4 times. I listened to him. I read him 2 psalms addressing the pain and suffering he was feeling, and had numerous deep, meaningful discussions with him. After we talked, Jason said to me, "You are the only one here who believes in me." When I heard those words, I realized that an essential part of being a chaplain is to believe in others when there's no one else to believe in them. Jason was sent back to Rikers with 1 week before his final court date. While he didn't know what would happen to him, I hope he was able to believe in himself and have faith in his future, just like Avram was. Throughout my years at JTS, I've questioned my beliefs on certain things and arrived at new interpretations, be they my stance on particular halakhic issues, my belief in how God works in our world, or my feelings on how to best teach those who don't want to learn from me. But one thing I've never questioned was that I was meant to be a rabbi and serve a synagogue community, and my ability to do so. From my earliest days at JTS, my excitement about my future was electrifying. I can recall every dean and professor who took time out of his or her schedule to meet with me, help me with academic studies, and guide me in matters of professional growth. I also have had numerous meaningful conversations with peers and can recall the words of encouragement they've shared with me concerning my role as a prayer leader, my integrity, and my compassion for others. These experiences have shown me that I am making a difference in the lives of others, both individually and communally. At the same time, I've had challenges when I've been at JTS, both in terms of my halakhic stance and my individuality. In a community time discussion group, I mentioned that I don't believe women are obligated to wear talit and tefillin. This led to a heated discussion, and from this discussion I learned how to have the self-confidence to articulate an unpopular opinion. In a small school like JTS, it's sometimes difficult to not conform to the majority opinion. And I realize now, more than ever, the value of the individual and the importance of independent thought. Another difficulty I've had at JTS was being presented with an ideal image of what a rabbi should be, an image which no one can possibly realize fully. In some ways I fit this image, but in others I do not. And while I've been working on emulating this image, I've also had to learn and been challenged to learn how to affirm my uniqueness. For as Netivot Shalom stated, each of us can only be ourselves. This view is reflected in Mishnah Sanhedrin, a Mishnah I'm guessing many people here know, which talks about God's greatness in making everyone uniquely. The Mishnah concludes, man stamps many coins with a single die, and they all look the same. But the Holy One, blessed be He, stamps each person with the seal of Adam, and not one of them is like his or her fellow. Therefore, each individual is obligated to say, for my sake, the world was created. Each of us has a unique personality with distinctive God-given talents. And I've learned that the goal is not for us to fit an image, but rather to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. I'm grateful for times when others have disagreed with me or challenged me at JTS, for they've shown me that my belief in terms of who I stand for and in who I am need to come from within. Instead of relying on external validation, faith requires us to know who we are and know what we believe in, and to eventually, after considering the opinions of others, arrive at our own decision. This is the faith of Avram which we can make our own. A belief in ourselves and in our unique life journeys, even when they run counter to what others are doing. As we read this week's Torah portion, I hope that each of us looks deeply inside of ourselves and has faith in our futures. When we encounter obstacles, I hope we have the strength inside of us and the belief in who we are to persevere on this journey of life. To be like Avram and have faith in one's unique mission, even when that mission runs counter to what others are doing, is very difficult, if not terrifying. Leaving behind all that one knows and going against the grain of society requires a high level of faith and a strong sense of self. The challenge for each of us is to have the faith of Avram in all moments, especially in the difficult ones, and to use all of life's experiences, good and bad, to strengthen us throughout this journey of life. Ken Yehi Ratzon, it be God's will.